Welcome to SDH's coverage of the NPSL Southeast. We take the tour of everything going on with App, Hickory, Apotheos, Charlottetown Hops, Port City 865, Greenville United, and Bristol Rhythm AFC. We are officially in a no dilly, no dally zone, so we're going to go back and let you know what happened over the last 7 days before we get you prepped for the next 7 days. And so for the week of the 13th, started back on Monday. Charlottetown Hops and Port City FC will go all the way back there to start things off. And that's our match of the week. Here's your highlights, courtesy of our friends at the NPSL and TSC TV.
This free kick here in the early stages of the first game of the season. Test for the keeper, test for the wall. 8 will take it for Charlottetown. No, he leaves it. It's lefty, and he buries it in the lower corner. And we have our opening goal of the game as Charlottetown are able to hit him with the free kick.
Charlottetown makes their first goal for the 13th minute.
And ultimately, that foul from Port City looks to be extremely costly as they're able to set up the free kick. They threatened the right-footed shots. It looked like the wall, and the goalkeeper kind of responded to the right footer stepping over the ball, and then with the lefty striking it beautifully into the lower corner, we have our first goal of the game. Oh, it's a bad giveaway here from Port City. It's the last man. Keeper comes out, and eventually it's tapped home. And that is going to be ultimately a defensive mistake from Port City as the ball is given away there in the defensive third. It ends up being an easy tap-in. Conversation still going on here between the two officials. The linesman must have seen something the referee maybe did not see in real time. We'll see if there's any possible change to the call here. Ultimately, it's an additional yellow card branded to a Port City player. It looks as if, based on this setup, the penalty kick will stand. And that additional conversation with the ref may have just been disciplinary. See a couple players kind of hugging, talking it through right now, but definitely some sort of a scuffle after that penalty was called. And Cardona will attempt the penalty for Charlottetown, going up against Ryan Aiken, the goalkeeper. Big moment for Charlottetown to really put the game away here. Can Aiken make a big save and carry his team? Oh, and he guesses correctly. The keeper guesses correctly, but the penalty is classed right into the side net, and that'll be 3-0 here to Charlottetown Hops FC. Oh, and it's a through ball in the middle. The flag stays down. Charlottetown's in on goal. He rolls it, and it's into the side net, and we have our fourth goal of the night. Against the run of play, really a beautiful ball was played on the right-hand side, and the finish was spectacular. It just tucks it in to the far post. Not a whole lot the keeper can do there. Long ball forward, appears to be onside, just broke the lines. Another chance here for Charlottetown, goes around the keeper. He's going to roll it in. The flag stays down, and we have a fifth goal.
5-0 win for Hops, and that gets them a big 3 points on the road. Then they came back to the matchup at home at Ortho Carolina Sportsplex, lost to Hickory by the score of 1-0. Played on Monday on the road at UNC Wilmington, came back to Charlotte on Friday, lost 1-0 for the match at home. Also on the board, it was at Bristol Rhythm AFC over Port City on the Saturday. Another home match at Gene Malcolm for Bristol Rhythm. They won that one 3-1. Goalless draw between Appalachian FC and Apotheos FC. So that sets the table for the matchups this weekend. It is Charlottetown Hops FC, Greenville United. That one is Friday night at 7 o'clock at Ortho Carolina Sportsplex. Saturday, 3 matches, all at 7 Eastern. Hickory FC hosting Port City at Moretz. It is Bristol Rhythm AFC hosting Apotheos at Gene Malcolm, and 865 Alliance at Hardin Valley Academy and Hawk Stadium hosting Appalachian FC. So let's hear from folks as they are getting geared up for what's going to be happening on the weekend. First up on the board, it is the head coach for Hickory FC, and it's time to find out what's going on with Hickory FC as they are working their way through the schedule. Time to catch up with head coach for Hickory FC, and it is Carlos Rubio. All right, you've had a couple of weeks and a couple of matches under your belt. What have been some of your main thoughts so far as we get to this point of the season?
Super pleased with the team. Boys have gelled together. We've had a great group of human beings, and then they've been playing awesome. They'll be fighting for each other, playing for each other, for the community, for the city. So I'm really proud of what we've seen in such a short term. I'm very excited for what's ahead. But super pleased. That's the word I'll use.
Yeah, and I mean it's a couple of matches that have been a couple of grinders, but you've gotten it done. I mean, you started earlier than everybody else, and so you've had a bit of an advantage. But what have been some of your takeaways about this sprint that is the season and trying to get everybody on the same page just as quickly and try to hit the ground running, which seems to, that's the difficult thing in this. It's like this is a sprint. You got to get everybody running, and you can't afford to be left behind. What's this like for you and the staff?
Yeah, it's been exciting. It's been exciting. We saw it as a fantastic opportunity for us to, yes, teach them how to play together, but most importantly, teach them how to compete and win together. That was the theme of the first few weeks. How can we turn this group of players into a team that they compete for one another, they play for one another, and they learn how to win together? And that's been seen on their results. That obviously winning always helps to reinforce that message. But I think the boys have done a really good job. I mean, we went up on a scrimmage game and we lost, but the reaction on that locker room right after, it showed me the kind of character that we have on the leadership group and the kind of character that we have in that locker room. And it filled me with excitement. I left that locker room after the game feeling like we've got a team in our hands. So, yeah, I think, like you said, we grind some results, and at the end of the day, that's part of it as well.
And you've had to do the last couple on the road. I mean, and this is like you're really having to get this chemistry and jam it together quickly. What did you think about these last matches on the road to get you back home?
Yeah, I mean, we said at the start of the season that one of our goals is to be undefeated at home. That's one of our season goals and something that we want to achieve. But if we go on the road and we don't do the job, then those games lose a little bit of value. So finding ways to win on the road is just as important as finding ways to win at home. And the boys have done a really good job embracing the context of playing away with big crowds, big fans, a lot of noise, but they found a way to get the results. So now we're excited to be back with our fans in this next five home game stretch.
Crazy that you're going to have that stretch coming for you. But what's study hall been like getting ready for the opponent this week? They've given up a lot of goals, but I imagine that you've seen a lot of it on film. What are your thoughts heading into this one?
They're dangerous. They're dangerous if we don't do the things that we need to do to exploit some of their imbalances. So just like any other team in this conference, they got the playing style. They know how to hurt teams. Watch the game against Charlottetowne, and even though the result was a 5-0 win for Charlotte, there were moments where Port City had some chances to turn the game around, and then obviously gave up some goals on the back end, and Charlotte had a fantastic game. But then against Bristol the other day, they hit the bar with 1-0 down in the first half, hit the crossbar in a good transition, and then last, I think, minute 93rd, when the score was 2-1, they had a 1v1 versus the keeper that could result in a really good tie away from home. So yes, they haven't found a way to win just yet, but they're a very dangerous team. And we always say that there is no more dangerous animal than the one that is hurt. So they know that they need to get 3 points as soon as possible, and they're going to come here trying to achieve that. Our job now is how can we stop them from do that, and we get 3 points at home.
Next up, time to catch up with Charlottetown Hops and find out what's going on with them. Once again, they had a very busy week as they were getting ready for the two-match week and how to bounce it back and forth. And so now we catch up with Charlottetown Hops Steve Gummer and find out what his thoughts are on a multi-game week. Couple of matches in, what do you think?
Couple of matches in, yeah. Always very very quick start to the season when, putting these rosters together and getting your players back in from their college environments and other environments they're in. So at this point in time, doing well, playing some good soccer. Not got everybody back in from our rosters, got a few injuries. Started with an away trip to Port City, which went very well for us. Played some really good soccer down there on the UNCW campus, great field, and really kind of emulated the game model, which Morteza and myself have kind of put together. So a lot of the players adapting well to that. And then we've come across Hickory, different kind of style. Last Friday night, wasn't able to really enforce the game model as much as we wanted to. Had to do a lot more defending we did in the first game, but certainly signs of some talent, and it's early stages, so all positive. Players are training well. We're getting a few sessions in. We managed to get some video work in and a game model presentation, so everybody's on the same page. And again, like anything, John, it's pulling players from different colleges, different formations, different systems, different playing styles, and then trying to adapt and put them all into that pressure cooker to spit out a nice ingredient at the end of it, where we feel that that's the best way to play soccer. So all good so far.
And you've got to put this roux together for another home match on Friday going up against Greenville. What's study hall been like getting ready for them?
Watched a little bit. Morteza does mainly the scouting on that. I think, our big emphasis is we believe the squad that we put together has some very, very good players that can complement the game model we want to play. We watch the opposition for some tendencies, but our main focus is our game plan and our game model. And that predominantly, surrounds itself with being in possession of the ball and trying to dictate the tempo of the game. We'll look out for some constants that the other team are doing, maybe set pieces, how they press, how they defend. And then, like with anything, any areas that we feel we can exploit through our game model. But looking forward to it again.
One off-the-field question for you, since it's the first time we've had to catch up this year. What was the biggest lesson the organization learned, do you think, from last year that you got to carry forward to this season?
Roster selection was key this year. We started a lot earlier. We started really thinking about this in, end of November, early December. So we started talking to players then, backbone players, maybe through the middle of the field, a number 9, a good solid number 6, maybe a couple of centre backs, and then, get the backbone of the squad together and then, fill in around it. The other thing this year was I'm really heavily focused on watching some college soccer in the fall, obviously with ESPN and the coverage that you have in all the divisions. And knowing that, a lot of our players that are coming to the roster are former, CSA, Charlotte Soccer Academy players, we kind of focused in on them and then built the roster accordingly. We did have a couple of tryouts where we picked up a couple players here and there, and then formulating that roster, was a lot easier. So we had more of a base, more of an outline, more of a strategic plan in how we were going to play, which then could emphasize and hopefully, turn that game model on a PowerPoint into a real thing on the field of play.
As always, when we catch up with our friends at Bristol, it's time to catch up with Diane and find out what it's like to be an owner and go through this entire process. And so it's time to catch up with Diane and find out what's going on as things continue with Bristol Rhythm AFC. Action at home as they continue to try and chase after life at the top here in year one. And it's fun to kind of catch up with things and do it from the executive perspective and find out what is going on with Diane Smith and Bristol Rhythm AFC.
It was incredible. We were so excited, just really even to score our first goal. That was a big crowd pleaser, happened very early in the first half. It was pretty cool because the player who scored our first goal is from Liverpool, England, and his family, his parents and his sister, were in Bristol for that match, and he scored our first ever goal in front of his family and our big crowd of supporters. He did not just score our first ever goal, he also then went on to score our second ever goal. Yeah, he scored the first two. So huge congratulations, Joe. We're very, very proud of him. Got a little tight towards the end. It was 2-1, and we were waiting. Regulation time had ended, and we didn't know how much extra time was on the clock. And I was just standing there like, please blow the whistle, please blow the whistle. We fought so hard. We don't want to end in a tie. And then Stooge came in with goal number 3 in the extra minutes, and it was just a relief, and it was very, very exciting. So first goal and first win all in the same game.
And now you get to keep the momentum up with another home match and another opportunity. How's the weather supposed to be? Do we know yet?
Oh, John, one day you're going to ask me about the weather and I'm going to be able to say sunny, but that is not today. I'm literally sitting here talking to you in a thunderstorm, and that is what is forecast. But I will say we had rain forecast for our first 2 matches and had not a drop on us during the match. The whole day, no, not so much. But no, we're not forecast to have good weather.
So what should folks, for those that are either going to be keeping an eye on social media, finding a way to maybe watch, or going to be there in person, what should folks expect with the game day experience? What's going on?
It's going to be fun. So we've got really good activities for kids. So this week we are promoting a sale on tickets for kids to celebrate the end of summer. Mine just got out of school this week, and I think that's pretty similar for most of the schools in our region. So $2 youth tickets for this week's match, and lots of fun activities for the kids when they come out. We've got inflatables, we've got putt-putt, really affordable concessions, because if your kids are anything like mine, they're going to want to eat the whole time that we're there. We've got a good food truck, and we've got a good matchup. We are facing the reigning national champion semifinalists, so it's going to be a tough match, and we recognize that.
No doubt about it. And how is the gear? Is the gear getting restocked? Is it because it flew off the shelves? So what's demand like? And what's supply?
Yep, I had multiple packages delivered this week, so we are restocked and have some new items for this week's matchups as well. So if you've already got gear at the first or second game, we've got new things coming this week as well. So come check us out and see what surprises we have in store for some additional merchandise.
Last on the board, it's Dale Parker, the head coach at Appalachian FC, because you go from a very, very tough matchup on one aspect of it, and then you've got to hit the road and turn around and play a very, very tough 8-6-5 Alliance team. Here's our conversation with Dale. Goalless draw with Apotheos, but when it's some of the 2 heavyweights in the conference, it's kind of what folks expected. What are your takeaways from it?
I mean, it was just an awful night in terms of the weather. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in terms of that perspective, and the delays, and really not getting into any flow. So it was difficult for both teams. I felt first half we got punished for not taking advantage of some of our good play, and then obviously the break, and then the break in play, and then we come back out for the second half, start okay, and then we get another bolt of lightning, which sets us back another 30 minutes. So it was just, all in all, just a night to forget. I think a draw on the night is fair. I think we both take a point and we move on.
What's it like to have to try to, you think you've got everything squared away, you get to playing, and then everything gets to full stop, and then you're back at it again, and then you get to full stop. What's it like having to navigate the clutch and the gas, and make sure that the engine doesn't stall? How difficult a night is that for a coaching staff?
It's difficult because you plan for a 7 p.m. kickoff. You start going through the warm up. You give you certain speeches at certain times, and then we don't end up starting the game till 8:45. So you're having to kind of slow down and remotivate yourself before you can remotivate the players. And there's just so many unknowns. It'd be a lot easier if we were given guidelines on, the next kickoff target is going to be this time, and then it's going to be the target to warm up is going to be this time. But when there's so many unknowns, it's so difficult to plan and prepare, and the players know that, and it's almost better keeping them in the dark and catching them by surprise. I think that might be better sometimes. But when everyone's fully aware of the weather and the delays, it just makes it more difficult.
And now you've got to make up for that 1 point that you got at home. You've got to go to the road and take on 865. What's Study Hall been like getting ready for this one?
Yeah, I think we're very, very excited to just get back on the pitch and play after the last game. So we've been very much focusing on ourselves this week. We've got a lot of really, really good players that haven't even had the opportunity to play yet. So we've been giving other guys opportunities in training and try to freshen things up a little bit. So we're focusing on ourselves. We know 865 is going to be a tricky opponent. From what we've seen so far, they were tricky for us last year when we played them. So we expect the same this year, but we're going to focus on ourselves, make a few changes, and hopefully get back in the winning board hopefully this weekend.
So that's the rundown of the matches here on the 24th and the 25th. That's your activity in the NPSL Southeast. If you are in market and can go catch the games at CSA Ortho Carolina Sportsplex, at Moretz, at Gene Malcolm, or at Hardin Valley, please do. You get to see the sport at its grassroots levels. Very, very cool to see how it's taken hold in these markets here in the NPSL. If you're in market and can't follow along in person, follow along through your local providers. And don't forget your social media channels as well to be able to watch or listen to matches that way. And if you are out of market and still want to follow along, once again, check with local providers, check with social media. And you can also listen to us on a weekly basis and let you know what's going on in the NPSL Southeast. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for hanging out with us. Enjoy the matches in the NPSL. We'll catch up with you next week.